Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Mrs. Scott, and I am here to give you guys a little video about graphing some of these conics. So I am looking at worksheet 11, and I'm going to graph a hyperbola and an ellipse for you guys today so that we can kind of review for this quiz coming up. You will notice on this worksheet 11 that there are 4 graphs, and we have a hyperbola, we have an ellipse, we do have a parabola, and we also have a circle. I know this is a circle because it looks like it should be an ellipse, but the A and B values are going to be the same, therefore we have a circle. But for the purposes of the quiz coming up, I am just going to talk about the hyperbola and the ellipse for right now. So let's go ahead and get started with this hyperbola. The first thing I'm noticing is that the y comes first, which means this is going to be a vertical hyperbola. And all that means is that the parabolas are going to be opening up and down. So the center, be careful with this one, is actually going to be -1, comma, +3. So remember, the x value always comes first. So even if the letters are swapped, you have to be really cognizant of that. There's no axis of symmetry because this is not a parabola, so forget about that. We will talk about the foci. We will also talk about the vertices. So since y comes first, it's vertical, and the a squared is 16, whereas the b squared is 9. This means a is 4, and b is 3. All right, so the vertices are going to be -1 and then 3 ± 4, which is -1, 3 plus 4 is 7, and -1, 3 minus 4 is -1. Those are going to be the 2 vertices of the 2 parabolas. Now the foci, we have to find our c value by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's 16 plus 9 equals c squared. This one comes out nice. We get 25 equals c squared. So c is ±5. There's no directrix. Just kind of filling in some stuff. So the value of c is ±5. There is no directrix. Let's talk about the foci. So the foci, they're going to be -1, comma, 3 ± 5. So again, since this is vertical, I'm changing the y value of the vertex. Now this one actually simplifies. 3 plus 5 is 8. So -1, comma, 8, and -1, comma, -2. Because 3 minus 5 is -2. Transverse axis is 2 times a. So that's 2 times 4, which is 8. And conjugate axis is 2 times b, which is going to be 6. And obviously, there's no radius here. So we have all of the beautiful information. And now we just have to graph a lovely hyperbola. I start with the center at -1, 3. And since this is vertical, I'm going to count the a value going up and down. So I'm going to go up 4. Put a dot, and I'm going to go down 4, put a dot. I'm then going to go in the opposite direction, left and right, for 3. Left 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3. And now I make that box. I like to just kind of trace out the box, which contains all of these points. And the box is there so that we can generate the asymptotes of our parabolas. So I like to make the asymptote really long, corner to corner, and then move it, and really long, corner to corner, and move it. These should be dashed. For timing purposes of this video, I'm not going to dash them right now, but you guys get the idea. Now remember, this is vertical, so the actual parabolas are going up and down. So the asymptote is just kind of determining how wide the parabola goes. And it goes like that. I'm not quite done. I still need to graph my foci, which is going to be plus or minus 5 from the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the center, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the center. And there we have a beautiful hyperbola graph that is vertical. Very proud of this guy. I'm now going to go to number 14. And number 14, I'm looking at it, it's an ellipse. It's an ellipse because there's a plus in between the two fractions. So this is different. The x value always comes first, and the way I know if it's horizontal or vertical is wherever the bigger number is. In this case, the bigger number is 16, which is under the x, and therefore this is going to be a horizontal ellipse. The center is positive 3, negative 1, and there is no axis of symmetry. Let's see, my a value is 4. And my b value is 3. All right, so foci, a squared minus b squared. Ooh, almost messed that one up. Guys, what I do is I look at the original equation. It was a plus, so in the formula, it switches to a minus. All right, equals c squared. So we got a squared, so 16 minus 9 equals c squared. So 7 equals c squared. So c is plus or minus root 7. Now, this one is horizontal, so the foci are going to move from the x value. So it's 3 plus or minus root 7, comma, negative 1. There is no directrix. Transverse, not transverse, the major axis for an ellipse is 2 times a, which is going to be 8. Minor axis is 2 times b, which is 6. There is no radius. And we're ready to go. So center of this ellipse is at 3, negative 1. 1, 2, 3, negative 1. And then we have our major axis, which is horizontal. So I'm going to count left 4, and I'm going to count right 4. Minor axis is going up and down, up 3, down 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Oops, that was only 2. Let's go one more. There we go. That looks better. All right, guys. So sure enough, we have a beautiful ellipse. Kind of looks like an Easter egg. You know, I do like to draw in the major and the minor axis. You don't have to. I'm not too picky on it, but I think it doesn't look complete without it, so I'm going to do it. It looks very nice. And now the foci. Guys, root 7, let's approximate that. That's about, let's see, 7 is between 4 and 9. It's like 2 let's say like 7. That's a total estimation off the top of my head, but it's 2 and then some change. And then left 2 and then some change. That's it, you guys. That's our beautiful ellipse. So we had hyperbola and we had ellipse. And you're going to have to know how to graph both of those for our quiz.